All right, good evening, everybody. You're very welcome along to tonight's webinar with Brendan. I'm your host, Barry Milan. Our webinar tonight is about creating a coaching pathway within your club. Just a bit of housekeeping before I hand it over to Brendan. Just trying everyone stay on mute if you can. Um, as always, we'd always encourage questions. So if you have any questions for Brendan, or myself, throw them into the chat box. You can do it during the webinar as well, and then I'll throw them out to Brendan at the end. We'll have time for questions, or at the end, if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, just fire away as well. Without further ado, I'll hand you over to our DSS hurling coach, Brendan. How are you?
Good, Barry. Thanks a million.
No problem.
Evening, everybody. Delighted to have a big crowd in this evening. Hope you all get something out of it. So yeah, look, as Barry touched on there, so the webinar this evening is creating a coaching pathway within a club. So it's an area I feel that clubs can kind of really dive into and get a lot out of. And obviously coaches then how they can fall into that pathway as well. Oh yeah. So look, this is our autumn webinar series with DSS. We had Stephen Maxwell there last time, accountability in your coaching. I thought it was excellent, really good one. I don't know if people saw it, but one thing that I brought out of it was he records his sessions and listens back to it, which is unbelievable, kind of for learning from your own sessions. And there's really no kind of say this you can really distinguish kind of what you said and what you didn't say. It's like that. I thought it was really, really excellent. This one obviously is myself this evening, and then we have another one then in 3 weeks' time with Aoife McColgan, looking at the kickouts in ladies football, which I'm sure will be excellent as well. So look, just a small few bits about myself there. I'm from Killa, down in East Cork here, so play hurling football, and coaching away as well. So studied my undergrad in the University of Limerick, sport and exercise science. Really, really enjoyed it. After that, I travelled out to the UAE, out to Abu Dhabi, and was teaching PE out there. During my time there, I did a course in the University of East London as a PE teacher. Out there, GA is massive out there, so we joined Alain GA, GA club in Alain, small little city in Abu Dhabi, hurling football, camogie and ladies football. So really enjoyable out there. Met loads and loads of people from all around Ireland, which was great. Then next brought me up to Leitrim. So I worked in Leitrim GA as a games development administrator for 2 years. Really enjoyed that. My time up there. And I played football with St. Mary's Kiltahart and hurling with Carrick Hurling Club. 2022, we did the double, which was great, really, really good. I've since gone on through Sport Ireland. I'm a coach developer, which is really beneficial in my role as current games development coordinator with Cork GA. And I'm currently studying in Satanta College a master's in advanced sports coaching and leadership. There's just a kind of a quick synopsis there on myself and my kind of journey to date. So look, we'll get stuck into this. So creating a coaching pathway within a club. So look, first of all, obviously we kind of need to really understand the coaching pathway. So coaching pathway works side by side with a player's pathway and how we as coaches can assist them on their journey. This can be supplemented by our formal and informal coach education, which is bits I'm going to be touching on later in the webinar. So kind of really we're looking at how we get players from when they're young, how we can coach them up so that they follow their own player pathway the whole way up through to an adult hurler. So obviously, alongside this, we need a plan. So coaching plan, I looked at this coaching plan as across a club, and why it's important. So the coaching plan provides guidance for the coaching and player pathway. It's the process developed to achieve our objectives. So the players need to be at the center of this process. And in my opinion, the objective of any underage GA club should be to get their players to a high standard so they are ready to play for the adult club. I said, look, that's just my own opinion on it. Doesn't mean that that's gospel, but I really do feel that our underage GA clubs need to coach their players, shape them into the players that we want them playing for our adult club. And then, again, in my opinion, development of the player should be more important than winning. Great seeing kids win trophies and all that, but at the end of the day, it's not really that important as long as they can develop, become players for their club and potentially onto their county then as well. So I kind of just wrote down a couple of bits here. So why clubs need a coaching plan. So it gives us accountability. So our accountability in our coaching from Stephen Maxwell the last day is really, really big. It gives us a focus. So something we're going to look at there is, so what are we doing, say, at under 12 coaching, or what are we doing at under 14? Different bits like that. So it's focus, guidance. It gives us a vision then as well. So we know when this child comes in at 5 years old, the vision for them is to hone them into the player that we expect to be playing for our adult club. I know maybe that's extremely long term and that mightn't be the case with every player, but again, in my opinion, that should be our objective, or that's our goal with them. It gives us an identity as well. So this is a big one I've kind of been thinking about the last couple of years, really. It's and it kind of came from when I was coaching with Leitrim. We've had a development squad game against a team from Ulster, and they played a really defensive style. They played maybe 13 men behind the ball for an awful lot of it, and they just beat us then in the end. By doing that, and everybody was frustrated, saying, "Oh, it's such a pity that they're playing like that. They're only kids, blah blah blah." But it kind of led me to believe then that, well, that's their identity. You know, that's how they see their adult team playing. You know, it's a big part of them, and their identity. And I think it's something that maybe GA clubs need to kind of start creating. We know the La Masia Academy in Barcelona. We know when they come in at 5, 6, 7, they're straight away on that tiki-taka passing. We see it in the Ajax Academy as well. Identity of clubs is seen a lot more maybe in soccer, and we see it in some hurling clubs, some football clubs, but not enough at the moment. And then the next one, why do clubs need a coaching plan, is our long-term planning, so that we can get coaches knowing that this year at under 11 isn't the end goal. So we don't need them learning all the skills in 1 year. This is one step in their process to learning all the skills across their year. Excuse me. So this is something I'm sure everybody has seen before. So this is the Gaelic Games player pathway from Tubber. So here we have starting here at F1. So our fundamental movement skills and our extension and refinement of movement is really big for F1 and F2. And we can see then they move on to F3. Our talent phase here, T1, T2, T3, and T4 is kind of our inter-county underage. And then E1 then is our adult inter-county, or elite and high performance. So I said I'd throw this up just so you can see it. And then on the next slide, how we see it working alongside our coach pathway. So F1, F2 are our nursery and go games coaches. Then our F3 is our youth coach, so 13 to 17. And then just on top with the club, it's our 18 plus. Then our talent, our developing potential strand of this is our, our county underage squads, or even in some counties where they've really competitive school teams. They'd fall in underneath this as well. And then up as far as E1 then, our inter-county. So that's what our kind of coaching pathway looks like from GA, from our Tubber, the online platform, and say how can we fit into this then? How can we take the good bits from this and put it then towards our own club? So as I touched on earlier, so we get kids coming into us at age 4, 5, and our objective, as I said, in my opinion, is to get them up to playing at least a minimum club adult level, potentially intercounty adult level. So how do we do that? So it's our job as coaches to do that from when they come in at 4 and 5 until they leave us at 18, that they're ready to play. And then, as I said, potentially go on to intercounty then as well. So to do this, we work from the top back. So work from the end point back. So the end point is our club adult player. So what does that club player look like for our club technically? So what are the technical skills they all have? Tactically, how tactically aware are they on different parts of the game? And physically then. So obviously your S&C and your gym comes into that then as well. So what I would do is maybe look at this as a club, break it down, say what skills do we want. So something, maybe something in particular we might leave out because we feel that that's maybe not as important, and we can spend a bit more time on this. Tactically then, like, are we looking at playing, say whether it's a running game or do we always play with a +1, different bits like that, and how we can start putting that in then to underage when they are, when they're going along up through the age groups when they're being coached by all the different coaches. So to do this, obviously, we coaching on the pitch and in the gym. So for this webinar, it's going to be just focused on the pitch. I leave the experts to the gym side of things. What I would say though is, in what I've seen, I think S&C, to bridge that gap from underage to senior to adult, I think our S&C it really bridges that gap a lot better, I think, than just having good technically skillful hurlers or footballers. I think being able to take contact or hit as well is really, really important. I've seen players who are physically ready to play adults get in ahead of players that are potentially better skilled players than them. So I think it's something that can't be looked over. So what I did for this is I broke down our skills of hurling. So this is all on Tubber. They break down the skills to releasing possession, contesting possession, gaining possession, and maintaining possession. So what I did then was look at all of these, break them down, and look at all the skills that we potentially want our adult hurlers to be ready to do by the time they come to adult. So that looks like an awful lot, but if you think about now, when they come in at 5, we're teaching them to hold the hurley first off, and then as they progress all the way up through, we just sprinkle in a couple of these every year. So we're not coaching all of these in one year. Okay, so what I did the same for football then as well. Sorry, I'll come back to that then on what I was just going to say. So the same for football then. So our different skills in the football here. And again, how we can sprinkle it then across the years as we go through. So I broke down striking here. So here, striking, we have 6 parts of striking, or I would say in hurling. So again, this might be, you might see it hard to decide, say, geez, there's an awful lot here in the strike. How do I coach striking on the run, striking on the back foot, on the front foot, all in one session or all in one year? But that's not something we have to do. So that's something we can break down over a couple of years and decide then as a club when we're ready to bring this in. So I did, sorry now. Yeah. So our ground strike is maybe something we introduce at nursery. So big thing there is we're getting our hand-eye coordination between the ball on the ground, our hurley, and getting the swing right for that. Then we go striking from the hand under 8s and under 9s. Striking from the hand on the run under 10s and under 11s. Front foot under 12, back foot 13, and then striking over the shoulder 14 and 15. So now, rather than just saying to a coach, okay, I want you to coach striking. Okay, now we're breaking it down. We have 6 stages of the strike. We know at nursery, if they're competent at striking on the ground, by the time they leave nursery, we're 100% happy there. By the time they come to under 12, we know that they can strike from the hand. We know they can strike from the hand on the run. And now we need to learn how to do it better on the front foot. So again, we're not trying to do everything in 1 year or everything in one session. We're breaking it right down, right back. And we know that long term is what we're looking at here. Now, obviously, people progress at different rates as well. So a kid might at under 12 mightn't be able to do one of these. Okay. And look, that's something that we obviously need to cater for as well within our coaching. But for the most part, this is kind of general. And obviously then as well, we're going to have some outstanding talents that are going to be able to strike over the shoulder a bit younger than 14 and 15. But it's just something that it's just a guide really that we can focus on then. So I did the same for the football. So coaching the catch in football. So broke it down to body catch, low catch, reach catch, and high catch. Again, nursery for our body catch, low catch then under 8 and under 9, reach for under 10 and under 11, and then our high catch then kind of 13 and 14. Obviously, you can break down your high catch then as well of say leaving the ground and timing of the run or timing of your jump and different bits like that. So again, what we're looking at here from the skill side of things. So if we can, I'll just jump back to this slide. Sorry, no. So if we can look at these skills here and see, can we get all these skills coached to our kids by the time they're 15? Okay. Now we have 3 years before they turn 18 of 15, 16, 17, before they turn 18, of where we can really focus on the tactical side of things, which is the next one I'm going to touch on here. Sorry, no. So this is the tactical approach to hurling. So I broke this down to attacking play, defensive play, positional sense, and dead balls. Again, look, this is all my opinion here. Like, you might have different bits to add in, different bits to leave out. And what I'd suggest, this is something not just one person does. This is a group of coaches within the club come together on how to do this. So obviously, look, there's loads there. I'm not going to go through them all. But say, if we can begin to introduce some of these across the different years of our coaching, by the time they come to adult, then they really tactically adapt in more than one area of these. So what I've seen happen is maybe we have say one team that an underage team could be not very physically strong, so we try to play a running game. So try to move the ball around the opposition, not able to say win 50-50 play. So we maybe bring out a spare man and play a running game. By the time that team gets to adults, they're not able to play any other style of hurling or any other style of football in the same case. And that takes time then for the senior coach to begin coaching from, say, point zero. Whereas if we can bring all these tactically adept in a lot of different areas, when the senior coach comes in and says, look, this year we want to try this style of play, or we want to introduce this as our plan B, that all the players then are aware of it. Yeah, I know exactly what that is. I know how to play with a +1. I know my role as a wing back when I have a +1 inside, or I know how to avoid the +1 when we are attacking. Okay, so again, just I think it's something that isn't being done. I think we can really, really focus on and try to get an awful lot out of it. So the same here with the football. So again, positional sense, dead balls, defensive play and attacking play, and the same ideas there. So coaching attacking play and hurling. So again, I broke it down just from the couple of, say, principles we had above. So third man runs, delivery zone, delivery to our inside forwards, and creating space. So this is our attack and play, how we can use all these different areas to improve our players so that by the time they come to adult, they're tactically adept in these. So third man runs can begin at 13 and 14, delivery zone at 15, how well we deliver the ball to our inside forwards, 15 and 16, and then how to create space. So how to evade to invade, or different bits like that, how we can leave a space before moving back into it. So again, it's not, when you look at the big page of all, say, the tactical approach to football and hurling, it looks massive, but we can break this down and say, okay, look, at 15, we're going to focus on one from defensive play, one from dead balls, one from positional sense, one from attack and play. And now we know then that we don't have to look at it all in 1 year, break it down slowly, and we say, look, by the time they come to 16, they know how to play with a +1, and they know how to our strong side, weak side defense. Okay, so when we go then onto 16 and 17, we know that we don't need to coach that for a long period of time. That's already done. That's already in the bank, and we can then focus on something else. So again, attack and playing football. Sorry, I should say defensive playing football. So our zonal marking can begin at 13, 14, playing with a +1 at 15, low block at 16, then a high press at 17. Again, look, this is only examples of kind of what I could possibly do. This isn't gospel, and as I said, I think if you are to go with this approach, it's something that you need to sit down with coaching officers, adult coaches within the club, and some, maybe get some support from games development staff in the area as well. So here's the learning space for our Gaelic games coach. This is kind of touching more on, say, the coach education side of things, and our learning. So we have the coach in the middle, coach who wants to improve. So our formal learning here is our coaching courses, Introduction to Coaching Gaelic Games, and Safeguarding. So it's something obviously everybody is well aware of. Our non-formal coaching, say our e-learning, workshop seminars, core modules, specialist modules, community of practice, demonstration. And then informal then, active coaching, mentoring, resources, coach chats. Okay, look, this, I said, this is something Tubber has, just kind of so we are aware of that there. So coach pathway support then. So a couple of bits there. So our community of practice, it's something we have in, say, the club here is, say under 8s might be struggling. So our 7s, 8s and 9s come together, come up with a solution. Say same with the 15s, 16s, 17s, different bits like that. Community of practice, sharing ideas, whether that's just a group chat on WhatsApp, sharing different resources that you get. Obviously Twitter is great then as well for that. So an awful lot of links end up coming in, but it's great. Mentorship program, we don't have this in our club, but I have seen it work quite well. So if you have some strong or really good coaches that are confident, they'd maybe be assigned a younger coach or a coach with a younger team that they might be just new to coaching, and to give them a hand wherever they may need it. Then we have our formal and informal coach education, upskilling through that, and then resources available online. We all know there's so many resources online, and Twitter is a really big one of those as well. So we're just coming to the end of it there now. So just kind of a recap and kind of what I touched on. It's all about having, say, a plan towards our end goal. So we get a kid at 5 and 6. How can we make them to be the best possible adult player they are, so they're ready to play adult hurling football for our club? So just this quote here: vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision is merely passing time. But vision and action together can change the world. So I'm sure everybody has seen it. Loads of coaches come in and say, yeah, we're going to win under 12 county this year, and we're going to play this style of way, and we're all going to be excellent at this, all these different types of skills. And then by the time it comes to 13, 14, 15, they only know one way to play, and they're not ready to go on to adult in 2 or 3 years' time then after that. And then joint up thinking here on the right-hand side. So how can we get the best coaches in our club in the same room, shaping and honing the club's identity, what our adult player looks like, so that we have that kind of long-term planning, that vision, that identity, and focus in all of our sessions. And I just attached here some resources at the end. So I'm sure this slideshow will go out through the DSS website and all the group chats and that. So just some resources here that I use a good bit in my coaching. So the coach pathway, there's some good videos there on that. The football skills, the hurling skills, so all the skills I listed above, there's our coaching cards for all of those on the Tubber website or learn.ga. Tourist resources, really good. So if you are sitting down to do this with your club, Turris is really good on kind of what to focus on at each age. And there's some really good resources there. Obviously, the online portal with DSS is fantastic. There's some amazing content there, really, really good. And then game coaching, GAME coaching. Colin Crowley has some really good blogs on it. So just kind of some discussions around your coaching plans, around your coaching pathways, and how we can kind of really improve that for our club going forward. So yeah, listen, that's all from me. Barry, I didn't put you to sleep, Barry, did I?
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, thanks, Brendan. That was excellent. Very informative as always. Look, before we just go to the questions, so if you want the slides are really good, Brendan. This has been recorded, so when it's up online in a couple of days, you can access the slides that way. Or if you came late to the presentation, this has been recorded, and you'll be able to watch this back. Just a couple of questions, Brendan.
Yeah.
The first one came in early. So Ronan, hi Ronan. So I'd say this is maybe on the nursery under 5/7s. You can come in, Ronan, if you want to. Would you get them to strike on both sides in the ground before an air strike?
Yeah, no, what I mean by that, Barry, is being able to strike proficiently on both sides, because what you see an awful lot, even in the under-7, under-8 blitzes, kids are allowed to lift the ball earlier and earlier now. And what's happening is they're half hitting the ball in the air because that's what they want to do. But actually, if you haven't taught them to strike proficiently on both sides, you'll never get them to strike properly on their left. And what actually happens, or their bad side, what happens is they end up with what I call it the tennis shot, where they kind of push on their left-hand side in the air if they're not able to strike properly on the left on the ground before they start to strike in the air at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely something we've seen in our blitzes as well. They're all mad for striking out of the air because I suppose, look, that's what they see on telly. That's what they see everybody else doing. But yeah, I would agree. It would be great to get them to strike proficiently off both sides first before they do try that. Because obviously then your swing pattern is really good off both sides. So yeah, I would definitely agree with you. The solution, I don't necessarily know that either, because that's what they're seeing. Maybe just bring back the kind of ground hurling for a year and see what happens, and get a few more kids looking to do it. But yeah, definitely agree. I think it is really beneficial if they're proficient off both sides before going to the air.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. However, I would just add that, and this is just from my own experience at the moment with my my young fella who is 6. He was doing his hurling with the under 6s, now 7s, and when he started to hit the ball out of his hands, a whole new world opened up for him, that he wanted to hurl. So while you do have to teach the grip, you do have to get them a correct size hurley. I mean, I see some of the kids with weapons. They're not hurleys, they're weapons. Right.
You'll grow into it.
You grow well, Ronan. That we laugh about it, but this is you know as well as I do. This is what happens. It's passed down to the older brother. The hurley's passed down, or they go into Elvery's or to Lifestyle, and they go in and buy the hurley there, and the fella who's selling it doesn't care about hurling development. He just wants to sell something. So yeah, if grip, hands, striking, and then, but once they do learn to hit it out of their hands, they will want to hurl more. That's my experience, And just on the hurleys, right? Getting the right size hurley, like it's so important. I'm just doing a bit of work with it, starting with a club soon. And one of my suggestions was that they have kind of a hurling audit. So they bring all their kids in, just size them up, show them the right grip, take a note of the hurley size that they need, and bring in a hurley maker. And just say, look, next Tuesday night there's a hurley maker coming. He'll have lots of hurleys, and you can the size that we have noted for your kid. It's worked in when I was a development officer in Dublin, it was really good, and it's well worth considering instead of going to the sports shop and buying the Hurley. Just from Richard, is the Turris, is it only applicable to Leinster? I think it's for everybody. It's developed by Leinster GA, Richard.
Yeah.
An excellent resource, but it's for anyone, isn't it?
The resources are available there online, through that link. Leinster use it, and we actually use it in Leitrim with our clubs as well. It's really, really good, for coach development, coach education.
In terms of vision for the club, this is from Brian. In terms of vision for the club, is under 12 a good age to be implementing this in terms of a system of play, or too early?
Yeah, look, kind of, as I said, this is my thoughts on it. So if we look at, say, all our technical skills, if we could get them coached by the time they're maybe 15, we have that kind of, or sorry, by the time they're 14, so we have 15, 16, 17 to look at the tactical side of it. Now look, obviously as well, there's going to be some bits of kind of our style of play, our system of play with kids, in one sense that we're obviously getting the ball from backs to forwards, and what's the best way to do that, and kids are going to figure that out themselves as well. Obviously then, say, I touched on the identity of the club, where we have, say, you look at Barcelona and they're straight away pass the ball, possession by the time they come in when they're young. So kind of there's two sides to it as well. So look, if you're, say maybe, I'd imagine in Kerry they're kicking the ball straight away, as often as they can, like all kids are. But in terms of, say, system of play, probably looking at maybe that kind of 15, 16, 17, where you kind of look at, say, the tactics and bits like that. Be my thoughts there, Barry. Anything there to add?
Yeah, like underage, I mean, it's skill development should be your style of play. Hitting it off right and left on the ground, in the air, on the run, that kind of stuff. And even before you start working on the tactical side of play, where you start with the games-based stuff, you can't teach, really do game-based stuff in hurling without being technically proficient. So, I mean, being technically proficient is so important. And once they have developed that technical proficiency, then we can start discussing styles of play and stuff like that. And so yeah, that'd be my thoughts on it anyway. A question from John. Brendan, you said the club should work from adult down. What if the adult team doesn't have a proper style of play or identity?
Yeah, so I suppose that's something that we've probably seen, say, happen because maybe the outside manager comes in, or and they have their own style of play and different bits like that. I suppose in that sense, maybe you're kind of looking at just to have them proficient on all kind of styles of play, however mad that might sound, just so that they are ready for that. Okay, again, look, these are my thoughts on it, that when the adult coach comes in, they can really get into kind of the fine art of, say, different aspects or different phases of play and different bits like that, that we want the players to be ready for that. So by the time they're 18, ready to go, they have been coached through this. Look, if it's a case then as well that maybe this is something that you've highlighted, and now we need a style of play for our adult team, or we need an identity, then maybe this is the time to kind of sit down and not so much create it, but maybe just kind of set it in stone and say, this is our principles and this is what we're about.
It's probably up to the club as well, the committee, like, to come up with a vision as well, and an identity, because as you say, like, there is loads of, maybe every 2 or 3 years, even new manager, new ideas coming in. So
yeah,
they'll probably need to take the initiative and say, look, the manager coming in needs to share our vision, our identity.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, from the top down.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, it's easy to compare to soccer, but now we see, say, clubs, say Leeds United fans. So we had Bielsa and it was great, and when Bielsa left, it was okay. We need to get a manager who comes in with a similar style of play. So if as you say, the committee comes in and sets our style of play, now we need to look for a manager who fits this style of play and can bring us to another level as well.
The players buying into it too is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's something the big one from our manager this year was the enjoyment of it, and what made it so enjoyable was we enjoyed the style of play.
Yeah.
Whereas if we didn't enjoy the style of play, I can guarantee you, we wouldn't have enjoyed the year as much as we did.
Yeah.
I think we probably need to at this. I'll come to your point now, Ronan. We could need to separate maybe from the first team and let's call it the juvenile section, because the whole, as you said, Ronan, the whole point of a coach club pathway. The coach fits the ethos, not the other way around. So the whole point of a pathway and a coaching culture is that you're getting players proficient enough so that they can become adult hurlers. Whether that's if you get them through the teenage years, and whether that's playing junior B, junior A, senior, as long as we get them to adult hurling. And if you can develop technically proficient hurlers, there's a much greater chance of them continuing on hurling when they get to the teenage years and into the adult years. And and then if you can keep them going, like, you might not develop everybody into a senior hurler, but you could be developing someone, a boy or a girl, into a junior hurler, a chairperson, a treasurer. It doesn't, the whole point is that of the GA is that, it's not just what happens on the pitch, it's what happens off it, that they're in the club, and it comes back to coaching and club pathways, and even having like the community of practice that you spoke about, Brendan, that, if you're getting to maybe under 12s and you're thinking about, well, what do I do next and what's the role, that's where your community of practice comes in. You get in the 12s and the 11s, the 13s, the 15s, and the clubs meet, the coaches will meet up and have discussions about, well, look, I had this issue when the under 15 coach might have come across this when they were under 11, and you can share the experiences. That's the beauty of community practices. I just think we have to separate the underage from the senior. Okay, because if you can develop technically proficient hurlers, they can fit into any style. Whether it's supporting at run, whether it's going long, whether it's through the lines, as long as they've got the skills, you can buy into any sort of game plan, if you know what I mean. I think that's it, Brendan.
Very good.
Okay. Unless someone wants to unmute and ask a question, we'll leave it there. So look, Brendan, thanks very much. That was really good, really, really interesting as well. Really good slides. I'm looking forward to watching this back now because there's some really good stuff. The recording will be up online in a couple of days. I'd encourage you to watch it back. And then the resources there, some excellent resources there. So Brendan, thanks a million. Don't forget we have another webinar coming up soon, and don't forget if you're looking for coaching ideas, just log on to the website. There's loads of good hurling stuff from myself and Brendan, and there's the games book as well that's still available to download on the homepage. So thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Good man, Brendan. Great stuff.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Thanks, Barry.